What the business is. We are back. Episode 167 in the Jar Football Show. Here on this Friday the 13th, man. I scoured the internet looking for different discussions that we could have today. We'll be with you here for the next 20 minutes or so. It'll be a short one. Trade rumors in NFL as we embark on the offseason. Some college football news if you're an Ole Miss Rebel. Among many other things, I was scrolling Twitter. I still got it in front of me. Trying to find any and everything to discuss on our episode today. And that's just that. Big talking points. Maxx Crosby, that's in the title. Kyler Murray. What are the Arizona Cardinals going to do with old Kyler Murray? And Aaron Rodgers. Looks like he's going to have a Mike McCarthy reunion in Pittsburgh. I think much to the joy of other AFC North fans and maybe much to the disdain of Pittsburgh Steelers fans. They don't want to waste another season. But what do we know? Maybe Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers reunion could be the best thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk about all of that today. Trinidad Chambliss is going to be suiting up for the Ole Miss Rebels next season. I'm fired up about it. And if you follow the show, if you're a fan of the show, you know that writing has been on the wall since the entire saga began. Every single court injunction with the NCAA, every single case that has occurred between a player against the NCAA, the player prevails because the NCAA is completely powerless and it's nobody's fault but their own. But I ain't mad at it. I'm fired up to see Trinidad back with the Ole Miss Rebels for 2026. It's going to solidify Ole Miss as a top 5 contender. It's going to put a little more revenue in the Ole Miss athletics department as I'm going to purchase a ticket to Ole Miss versus LSU in Oxford. Got to get my hotel room booked for that as well. Dude, I'm telling you what, when you try to get a hotel room or an Airbnb in Oxford on a LSU weekend, I looked at it this past season. It's really weird because you're not used to seeing the same game occur in the same place 2 years in a row. It's always home and home. So Ole Miss played LSU in Oxford this past year. I got the chance to go. It was awesome. And then LSU is going to come back to Oxford this season. It's almost like a cinematic type of setup with Lane Kiffin returning to Oxford. I can't even imagine what that's going to be like. I'm pretty sure tickets to that game are already going for $500 just to get in the building. What up to Irene C, ACC 1960. So let's go ahead and get into it. We really only have about 16 minutes. Maxx Crosby is rumored to be on a trading block for the Las Vegas Raiders this offseason. I think he's going to get traded, and I think the Raiders are going to go into full rebuild mode. If and when they do trade him, that's going to signal that they're going into rebuild mode. Clint Kubiak's going to have, I'd guess, 3 years to figure this out. But again, with the Mike Vrabel turnaround in New England, with the Curt Cignetti turnaround with the Indiana Hoosiers, these coaches, these new head coaches at struggling franchises, struggling organizations, are going to have a much, much shorter leash because the owners are going to look around and say, Mike Vrabel did it in a year. Mike Vrabel did it in 307 days. They didn't win it, but they got their ass there after a 3-win season. You got to be able to do the same too. Or even Curt Cignetti. Curt Cignetti took one of the worst football programs in the history of college football and ran the table with them, 16-0. Hello to Anna Reiser. Appreciate you popping in. Appreciate everybody popping in. Hey, this is In the Jar Football Show where we rant about all the happenings in the football world. We're the fastest growing football channel in the land. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, and if you don't do either, don't let the dough hit your ass on the way out. So Maxx Crosby, I think if you're Las Vegas, you take Fernando at number 1. You hope it works out. I'm not sure how I feel about Fernando. You take a guy like Jackson Dart from last year's draft class. Charisma, swagger, social media personality. Every single girl in the world wants him. He goes out and he makes a splash for the New York Giants. And again, I'm Ole Miss biased, so I saw that coming the whole time. I thought Jackson Dart was the best quarterback in that draft class by far. He turned out to be. My bias turned out to prove true. And now you've got Fernando Mendoza in this year's draft class and literally nobody else. Literally nobody else. Now that Trinidad's returning to Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss, by the way, is going to be the best quarterback in the next year's draft class. But now you got Fernando Mendoza. we got somebody named Digger Nick in the chat. I just Googled the gayest person on earth and it showed this channel. That's kind of cool. You know what I mean? That's not bad. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, Nick. I'm scared to say that whole name fast for some reason. It just kind of it's scary to look at that name for some reason. At least on YouTube. So you start with Fernando Mendoza. Look, Fernando has been growing on me like crazy since the beginning of January. I went from an Indiana hater, being an SEC supremacist, to liking Fernando's Instagram posts. You know, he's posting up at LinkedIn headquarters in the Bay Area. He's there for Super Bowl weekend. He's posing with Peyton Manning. He's posing with Eli Manning. It's going to be a tough transition to make this work with the Raiders in 1 year. But again, we've seen it at least this past season in college and pro. We've seen these turnarounds happen like clockwork. And fair or not, that's going to be the standard for every single struggling program franchise going forward. These coaches are going to have shorter leashes. So with the Raiders, you know, I know I made the title, sure thing, Maxx Crosby gets traded. But now that I think about it, are these organizations going to be willing to say, well, if they did it, so can we? We're going to go all in. It doesn't matter how far up against the wall our backs are. We're going to take a chance. We're going to hold on to Maxx Crosby. We're going to draft Fernando Mendoza at number 1 overall. We're going to add some pieces in free agency. I don't even know where you start if you're the Raiders. I mean, you start at quarterback, but that's a foregone conclusion. You got a good running back with some promise. I'm not sure I can name one receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders right now. I'm sure there's one or two where I'd be like, shit. Right now, off the top of my head, I cannot name a single receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. So it'll be interesting to see. Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator coming from Seattle, Super Bowl ring. I don't know. I think you trade Maxx, you draft Fernando, you blow the whole thing up, and you give Clint Kubiak and Fernando 3 years to become a contender in Las Vegas. And that's really all I have to say about them. Kyler Murray is a topic of discussion right now. Do the Cardinals go out and get value for him? Look, I've lived in Phoenix for 4 years. I won't go to a damn Cardinals game unless it's for free. I don't care who's in town. I paid for a Cardinals game one time in the 4 or 5 years I've lived here, and that was when the Bengals came to town a couple years ago. Jamar Chase went for 3 touchdowns. That was when the boys were still humming. I'm pretty sure Joe Mixon was still on the team at that point. The Cardinals are about as dysfunctional of an organization as the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know what the common trend is? It's family businesses. I got offered a job by the Arizona Cardinals a couple years ago. I was working for the Coyotes in NHL, and it was a complete dumpster fire. And so I was looking to leave. And so I interviewed with the Cardinals. And with that organization, the final step in procuring a job offer from them is jumping on a Zoom meeting with Michael Bidwill, the owner. You're with other candidates. It's not one-on-one or anything like that, but it's still a big deal. You're in a Zoom meeting with an NFL owner, talking, asking questions, this, that, and the third. And I remember going into that meeting thinking, this is really cool. I'm getting ready to talk to an NFL owner. And I came out of that meeting thinking, this guy sucks. This guy's terrible. I don't want to work here. And I didn't. But that's kind of the tone of the Arizona Cardinals organization. You know, transformative players like Larry Fitzgerald don't come around all the time. And I've been here for a long time. I've followed that team decently close. I've watched Kyler Murray game in and game out. And I just don't believe in the guy, man. I don't. I think Kyler Murray will continue to collect a check in the NFL as long as he's a backup. I think Kyler Murray's no better than a backup quarterback in the NFL. And this is what happens in football. I've seen it at the college level specifically, where the organization or the program misevaluates a guy. Let's say they evaluate, they take a chance on a guy, and then it's clear in practice in the games that maybe the player isn't playing up to expectations based on the evaluation. But the coaches, and I'm sure this happens in the NFL as well. In college, now they have GMs in college. It's much different than when I was there. But when I was in college, the coaches and the recruiting staff are the ones watching the film, making the offers. And I would see it in college. I would notice a guy was struggling, but he would be a scholarship guy. And even though the guy was blatantly struggling, he would continue to get reps instead of the walk-on guy, let's say. And the reason that was happening was that instead of fixing the problem, the egos of who recruited the guy, and I'm not saying anything bad about anyone at my alma mater or anywhere else for that matter. It's just a general observation. I think this is what's happening with the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals paid Kyler Murray all this money. And he's not proving to be worth that money. And so instead of moving on from Kyler Murray when the Cardinals should have moved on from Kyler Murray, which in my opinion was 3 years ago, it's a sunk cost fallacy. They're sticking it out because they know that they'll look bad if they paid him all this money, and then it doesn't pan out. It's an ego thing. We don't want to look bad. We care more about being right than we care about actually winning. And so now the writing's on the wall. Now it's abundantly clear, I think, that Kyler Murray is not a franchise quarterback. And so will we see the Cardinals move on from him this offseason? I doubt they're going to get any kind of value that they would want out of a trade. I don't know the specifics of his contract either. I don't know if the reason people are talking about him is because his contract's coming up. I haven't heard that. But the Cardinals, as a dysfunctional organization have waited far too long to move on from Kyler Murray. And I think they should trade him. Whoever they trade him to, I would really be shocked if he wasn't a backup for the remainder of his career. A solid backup. He'd be a great backup. You'd have somebody like him stepping in off somebody being hurt. That'd be great. I think if I was a fan and my team was getting Kyler Murray as a backup, I'd be fired up about that. But the Cardinals, I think, are suffering from a little bit of sunk cost fallacy, if anything, with Kyler Murray. And then we move on to Aaron Rodgers and his return to Pittsburgh being in question. The thing about this is, as a Bengals fan, I would be really excited to see Aaron Rodgers come back to Pittsburgh. I admire what Aaron Rodgers has done in his career, as anybody with eyes should. I would be a bit more inclined to walk back what I'm about to say if Pittsburgh signed a big explosive piece on offense, specifically a receiver. They need it. They need a better running back than Jaylen Warren as well. But as a Bengals fan, I would be excited to see Aaron Rodgers come back, because if the Bengals do what they obviously need to do, which is buff up their defense, they need to get rid of bums like Geno Stone, then I think the Bengals will be able to dog walk Pittsburgh both games next year if Aaron Rodgers is quarterbacking, because that offense is not explosive enough. Again, I'll walk back all of this if they sign an explosive piece or two on offense. I don't know who that could be. And we're going to see a lot unfold this offseason, but I figured we'd just kick off the preliminary discussion here today. Number one, because I have done a bad job of asking people to come on the podcast this week. And number two, it's Friday and we just have kind of run out of subject matter on football. Everything's kind of played out. It's Friday the 13th. It's the day before Valentine's Day. Dub Raider in the chat. Is this a show? I think so. I'm pretty sure it's a show. And it's Friday the 13th. You know, you got that weird juju in the air It's pre-Valentine's Day. Every man in America is getting ready to get ripped off that has a lady in their life. It's shower women with gifts day without any reciprocation, but all the risk for men here coming up. It's a complete psyop. It's a consumer psyop. Dub 9 Raider, big dog. Just making sure. So we covered Maxx Crosby, we covered Kyler Murray, we covered Aaron Rodgers. Mike T leaving Pittsburgh. I think it was the right thing. A couple organizations you saw that happen with tail end of the year. Buffalo, I was listening to a Bills show today, talking about how the Bills just needed a vibe shift. Moving on from McDermott. McDermott was kind of like the, what was it? The, kind of like a dad, a stern dad. And then Joe Brady is kind of like the cool uncle that maybe everyone feels more comfortable being themselves around, And so I don't think it was much different in Pittsburgh. I think they just needed some new paint on the wall in Pittsburgh, I think they just needed, and I think that's what the Bengals need. But, of course, I'm not going to get what I want with that. Alec M in the chat thinks Maxx will stick around, but we will see. Yeah, kind of clickbaiting in the title a little bit. I'll admit, because the argument for Maxx sticking around in Vegas would be that the Raiders see what the Patriots were able to do in 1 year, and every other struggling organization saw what New England was able to do in 1 year, and they kind of start to hold on to this hope of, well, if they can do that, we can do that. And so it's going to be a really good tell with what they do with Maxx Crosby, whether they're looking to try and copycat the fast rebuild. I mean, who wouldn't want to copycat that? Or whether they're going to deal Maxx and go into rebuild mode. I love Maxx too. I think he deserves to go somewhere where they're serious about winning. And I don't know. I'm not the most familiar with the Raiders organization. I mean, great tradition, great history. But as we know, present day, that doesn't always mean a lot in terms of actually winning games. Alex says Steelers could still be mediocre with McCarthy. I totally agree. And I'm hearing on the street, on Twitter, different forums that Steelers fans are not excited at all right now, especially with the idea of Aaron Rodgers coming back, the idea of kind of that stale offense making its return. I mean, McCarthy's going to make his tweaks in the playbook, but Pittsburgh's got to add another explosive receiver counter DK. They've got to add a bell cow running back with more size. Jaylen Warren was fun the first couple years in the league. I think it was hard for defensive coordinators to figure him out because he is so low to the ground. But you saw a fall off in Jaylen Warren's production this season, and I really believe that part of that was because he just doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the size to be a sustainable bell cow running back anymore. Dirty 30 grows. Welcome to the show, everybody. Guys, make sure you smash that subscribe button. We do a show every single weekday around 6:30 Eastern talking about current football happenings. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. If I could keep Maxx or win a Super Bowl, I'm keeping him. Really? I assume Dirty 30 is a Raiders fan. If he or she is saying that, I'd imagine we're talking about football. If I could keep Maxx or win a Super Bowl, I'm keeping him. That almost kind of breaks my brain. Yeah. Yeah, Dub Raiders says What the F? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd probably take the Super Bowl, brother. Oh my God. But fans of the show know I'm a Bengals fan. And for me, as a fan right now, it's just melancholy. I'd rather be a fan of a terrible team that I know is terrible. I know what I'm getting. And, midway through the Bengals season this year, Bengals fans will agree with me. Like, we've seen this before. The writing's on the wall. Every week you're thinking, God, we're going to lose, but it's still going to ruin my day. It's still going to ruin my week. But when you have a team with potential like that, when you haven't, I'm making this about the Bengals. Fans of the show know I do this a lot. When you have a team like that, when you not a team, when you have an offense like that, when you have players on offense like the Bengals have, and they consistently find a way to lose games, there's nothing that drives you more insane. Like get yourself a toxic girlfriend, and I guarantee you, being a Bengals fan will still make you more insane. Alec, I hope the Steelers never win another ring, though. I wouldn't mind that either. But, as an opposing AFC North fan, of course. But I keep thinking about the quarterback play in the AFC playoffs this year. Like, the quarterback play, you think about we talked about this yesterday, the Patriots run. The quarterbacks they played against. And again, I covered this on yesterday's episode, so if you watch yesterday's episode, I'm sorry. But I was defending the Patriots playoff run earlier in the week. I was saying that they played 3 of the top 5 defenses in the league. In the playoffs, beat them all. But then you look at the quarterback play of the Chargers, Texans in the divisional round, Denver in the championship round, and you kind of think, if we had copied, I hate to be man. Bengals fans get a bad rap for this on Twitter, and I'm about to make it worse. If you copied and pasted Joe Burrow into one of those games against the Patriots, with a defense that's not JV 8th grade level. I mean, what a freaking disgrace. Yeah, I'm about to get pissed off. Bengals would be all right offensively, but their defense needs to be completely rebuilt. AFC quarterback plays was terrible in the playoffs. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, with the Bengals, we got to start with the bums, and there's a few of them. Geno Stone is the king bum. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And he was terrible in 2024, too. And we brought him back. It's interesting. I saw a statistic. I can't remember the exact figure. But, it was 52 of the last 52 of 60 Super Bowl winners had a top 10 defense that season. It's like Duke Tobin, head out of ass. You know what I mean? Remove it. Get some damn pliers, man. We run a family business around here. I mean, dude, I could rant about the freaking Bengals every single weekday for the entire offseason, and I might. We're looking to get some guests on here. There's a Broncos DB that I want to get on here. Couple football influencers I want to get on here. Just to give you guys a little taste. If you weren't sold on subscribing, maybe that'll do it. Let's run through the outline here. Make sure that we've hit everything. Oh, yeah. And I am going to run here in a second, guys. Report cards. You guys probably know this already. The NFL prevailed against the NFLPA. They have effectively stopped team organizational report cards from becoming public. So there's now even less accountability for how organizations treat players, take care of players. I bet the Bengals organization is smacking their damn lips right now. These cheap bastards. They're sitting here like this. Let's charge our players $30 per meal in the team cafeteria. Oh, we're gonna save so much money. These piss me off. So that kind of I think that's a bad thing, man. Take team report cards away. And again, which organizations are the ones that consistently graded? I guarantee you the Bengals were at the forefront of doing away with those damn player report cards. And I bet Mike Brown and Katie Blackburn and the rest of the lawyer clan that they brought into the Bengals organization, I bet they had some damn celebratory champagne this morning. Because now they can do away with daycare for the kids. They can charge players' wives to get some extra ticket revenue. They can not update the stadium, not update the weight room. They can save so much money now. I guarantee you the damn Bengals ownership group had some celebratory champagne this morning because now they don't have to make player report cards public anymore. That's what we're worried about. That's what these dysfunctional organizations are worried about. You know who else is at the bottom of those report cards year in, year out? The damn Arizona Cardinals. When's the last time they won? 2009? You know, it's just insane. And it's all ego. It's for these owners, it's not about football. I think it's even beyond money. It's about ego. It's about being right. It's not about winning. We got a couple bill in the bank account or, in assets. No, it's not about any of that. It's about I am next to God. I am right. I run an organization in the most powerful league in the world. Nobody can tell me I'm wrong. That's what it's about. And I'm not saying all owners are like that. In fact, the owners of winning organizations are the opposite of that. They're team guys. They love ball. They care about making good business decisions over being right. But the dysfunctional ones, and I don't want to point fingers, but it always seems like the dysfunctional organizations in professional football specifically are the family businesses, the nepotism. My father did it this way. My father had me, so I must be special. I don't have to do anything to be special. I don't have to work. But Paul Brown's my grandfather. I have to be special, regardless of if I do anything productive or not. That turned into, dude, anytime the Bengals come into the discussion, start to get testy. Let's read the chat here. Gino and Pete Carroll were horrible for our Raiders last year. Yes, they were. I'm not too from it. Make sure you guys subscribe, by the way, because I really, Alec M and Dirty 30, I really appreciate you guys' input because I'm not very familiar with the Raiders organization. I'd love to have you guys in the chat day to day, kind of aiding me along here as we maybe talk more about the Raiders. Dirty 30 asked, would you guys trade Maxx Crosby for Joe Burrow? Just wondering. No, I wouldn't. I do think pass rushers are a complete and utter premium right now in the NFL. People are seeing what Myles Garrett is doing. I know TJ Watt kind of had a fall off this year, but his production, Max's production, we're going to have some conversations about Trey Hendrickson in the near future. I don't see any way Trey Hendrickson makes it back in the stripes. He quit on our team this year. He completely quit on him. And listen, Bengals fans were mad at Trey Hendrickson for quitting on the team, basically. I think he I don't want to spread misinformation, but it really seemed like he sat out games that he could have played in. But I don't know what kind of closed conversations are going on behind closed doors. I mean, this Bengals ownership group literally seems like talking to them would be less productive than talking to a brick wall. So maybe Trey's just had enough of their shit. And if that's the case, then I probably side with Trey, because these people are terrible. These people are idiotic. They're egotistical for no reason. And if you guys are regulars on the show, you know how much I enjoy shitting on Bengals ownership. Jets, Woody's hurt feelings prevail, taking report cards away. Yeah, I mean, that's another dysfunctional one. Browns, another dysfunctional one. Again, being a Bengals fan, growing up in Lexington, Kentucky, I am most familiar with the Bengals, and I live in Phoenix, so I've gotten a good grasp on the Cardinals, and so I feel like those are two very dysfunctional organizations that I'm familiar with. The Jets and Browns, not so much. What else? We might be close to getting it. Derek Carr teasing a return. Might as well go to sleep, man. Derek Carr is so mid, it's not even funny. I know we got Alec and Dirty 30 in the chat. They're Raiders fans. Hopefully that's not offensive to you guys. Listen, or Saints fans. Derek Carr coming back don't mean a damn thing to me. It just doesn't. And people are talking about it. He's teasing it. This is the off-season talking points we got, and we're just starting. I can't imagine what these off-season headlines are going to look like in July and August. Derek Carr teasing return. Dirty 30. I hope I didn't piss you off, brother. I just look. I've never really gotten the hype around Derek Carr. Look at what Sam Darnold just said. True. And when we're evaluating quarterbacks, one thing I feel like, and I say we, I'm not an NFL GM, but when evaluating quarterbacks, I think Sam Darnold is going to aid in this progression here, the scouting progression. We got to look at how a guy has responded to adversity. It sounds obvious, and I'm sure teams are looking at that. But now that Sam Darnold has a ring, and he's the first quarterback in the 2018 class to have a ring, Lamar, Josh Allen, Baker, you got to look at how a guy responds to adversity. If a guy's had it easy his whole career, if he's always been on winning teams, that kind of thing, that's something we got to look at. Derek Carr outperformed Sam Darnold all those years. Yeah, and a lot of quarterbacks did outperform Sam Darnold all those years. I don't know, man. I mean, do you guys think that Derek Carr could lead a Super Bowl run still? I mean, Alec thinks Carr's time should be done. Joe Schmo in the chat. A couple guys I haven't seen in here before. Welcome to the show. Smash the subscribe button if you want. Smash it! Because we ran about football every day. Every weekday we're here. So Derek Carr, we talked about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray at best is a backup in this league, I believe. Active chat today. I really appreciate you guys. Only white boy to have his team in every game this year. Is that what WB stands for, Joe Schmo? White boy? Think about Derek Carr on the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, I didn't even think about what team Derek Carr would go to, because it's definitely going to be a different one. I wonder if the Raiders don't still have who was he with most recently? I'm freaking having a brain aneurysm right now. Derek Carr, who has his rights? Was he with the Saints last or the Raiders last? God, you would like to think I know freaking ball. Derek Carr officially retired. He was with the Saints last. Okay. Mac Jones might be a good bridge. Well, I mean, but Alec, they're about to draft Fernando Mendoza. Dirty 30 says, I don't want Derek Carr back on the Raiders, but a team like Minnesota is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think J.J. McCarthy's ever going to make it back from literally being the meme of playing bad. Every time a quarterback played terrible or choked this year, somebody was photoshopping their face and their jersey onto that 9 meme where he's trying to like do that fake demon act, where he's like, I mean, I don't know how you come back from that. I genuinely believe that affects how he's perceived, not just by fans, but by executives in the league. I truly believe that. Thanks for the sub, Dirty 30. Really appreciate it, brother. Yeah, I just don't know how you come back. Like, if I'm the Vikings, I'm moving on from JJ yesterday. Let him go somewhere else, be a backup for a couple years, and then maybe you get like a Sam Darnold redemption arc chance at some point. What else do we have? Malik Willis free agency. Malik Willis likely to be top targeted free agent quarterback. Not a star yet, but has potential. Teams without established quarterbacks are looking at Willis. Situation could make or break him. Free agency complete. Okay, whatever. Malik Willis. Yeah, I mean, he played some great games for Green Bay. I think he played like one incredible game for the Packers that they still ended up losing. Like they didn't punt or something. And I think in games that Green Bay didn't punt this year, I can't believe I'm remembering the stat. In games that Green Bay didn't punt this year, they were 0-4. Hawks, only team in history to run the table and not turn the ball over. If they do have Mendoza at first, sit first few games, maybe interesting. Yeah, Alec, I don't think they're going to take that approach. I think they're going to start him right away. Look at Derek Carr and what he can do. The Minnesota Vikings are built to win now. Hell, man. So I guess the Saints still have the rights to Derek. And so I guess the Vikings will have to deal with the Saints in order to get Derek Carr's services. Small sample size of games for Willis for sure. I don't know if I'm all the way in on Willis. I wasn't sold on him at all. When he was with the Titans, every single game he got a chance in, like, just I didn't see anything particularly good from Malik Willis. But this year, he definitely helped his stock when Jordan Love was hurt and he's stepping in. Even though they lost some of those games, he played incredibly. I can't remember who. There was one game in particular. It was later in the year that he played really well, stepping in for Jordan Love, and they didn't punt. And they lost, but he still got his flowers. It was an interesting situation. And then you got C.J. Stroud. Really hasn't played even close to the level that he played at as a rookie. Elite rookie year. Second year, they lost weapons. Tank Dell had that terrible injury late in 2024 that caused him to miss all of this season as well. Offensive line got worse, changed their OC. And some people are saying the issue isn't CJ, that it's the system, your O-line, your weapons, but also like CJ doesn't look better. I don't know. I think there was somebody who was really well respected that made this take as well that I agree with. Maybe CJ Stroud got too high on his own supply after that rookie year, and he hasn't made many changes to really get better. I don't know the guy. I don't know his life, but you look at somebody like CJ Stroud, like he was terrible in that division game. That's what I'm talking about, the Patriots playoff run. Like, Who loses to the Texans in that division game against the Patriots? Not my Bengals. Stroud might as well have spiked the ball every play, and he probably would have had a similar quarterback rating. You know what I mean? Like, just terrible. He was terrible. So I don't know what's going on there. Again, elite rookie year. I don't think not having Tank Dell is an excuse for C.J. Stroud. And maybe their offensive line did get worse. That's a subjective statement. And I'm definitely not going to look for PFF grades. You know what I mean? Because freaking Uber drivers make those. Like, let's be real. Like, nobody outside of an organization's facility can effectively grade players. J.J. Watt brought this discussion to the forefront when he said this on Pat McAfee. And I don't know if it's in enough people's heads because I still read articles about so-and-so's PFF grade was 96.5 against the Tennessee Titans on September 3rd. It's like, what are you grading off of? You don't know the playbook, so you can't know the assignment. What are you grading? Well, we're grading the end result of the play and whether they positively or negatively affected. You know, it's like you can't. You can't. You got freaking Uber drivers making these PFF grades. So, you know, I don't know when somebody says that Houston's O-line didn't improve or got worse. Like maybe they allowed more pressures. They didn't get as much push up front. I don't know. Alex says, Willis still likely to get a bag from some team free agency. Yes, I agree because the film he put up stepping in for Jordan Love. I mean, you can't argue with Malik Willis this season. When his number was called, he seemed ready. And that's a very attractive trait in a quarterback for especially these organizations that are struggling, don't have the answer, that maybe they're willing to take more of a risk. That's what football is all about. It's like, are you ready when your number's called? You don't know when it's going to be called. You got to stay ready. You got to stay prepared. And Malik Willis seemed to do that this season. Broncos really blew that game in the AFC Championship as well. I mean, yeah, they're down there on the, 13 or 14-yard line, opposing territory. Early in the game, I think, too, second quarter. I'm talking Denver Broncos, 4th and 1. And you go for it. And you run a play that is completely bottled up, play action, Jarrett Stidham rolls right. You've got that arrow route out of the backfield that they really wanted on that first read. And New England just had it completely bottled up, and it ended up being a 3-point game. If you take those points, it's bare minimum an overtime game. But like I said, the quarterbacks in New England faced throughout their playoff run were just terrible. They were just terrible. And I still can't get over this idiot Sam Monson voting for Justin Herbert for MVP. Who the hell decides in the league who gets these votes? We're bringing on DEI MVP voters at this point. Mina Kimes. Come on. Idiots. Okay, what else? I'm getting real hungry, guys, and I'm going to head down to the gym. I'm going to do a little load management day for jiu-jitsu today, meaning I'm not going to train. I'm just going to go down there and hang out. But that seems to be the end of our show content today. Appreciate everybody popping in, participating. Joe Schmo, Dirty 30, Alec M, 53, 77, Dub Raider, Miss Lindsay, as always, and everybody else that popped in. I really appreciate it. Dang, we went for 49 minutes. I wasn't even expecting to go for 20 today. I was like, shit, we don't have dick all to talk about today other than Maxx, Crosby, Kyler Murray, and Aaron Rodgers. And we went for almost 50 minutes. So you guys fueled that. You guys in the chat watching fueled that today. So I really appreciate it. I hope to see you guys back in here starting Monday. We're here live Monday through Friday around 6:30 Eastern every weekday, even throughout the off season. Expect some guests. Expect maybe some sillier days, some goofy days. We're going to venture into the offseason together. So some days I might just be watching clips of damn pelicans taking fish from people. Just expect anything here. But I really appreciate everybody contributing in the chat. It really helps our show flow along. And with that, let's cue the music, huh? Give me my theme music. College football discussion, too, coming. It was a heavy professional football day, but good day for the Ole Miss Rebels. Trinidad Chambliss. Top 5 Rebs, baby. National championship run on the way for Ole Miss. I got to get my damn hotel down in Oxford for the LSU game because them suckers will go for $1,000 a night during the LSU game weekend. Maybe I'll call my big cousin up and see if he can give me his house for the weekend or whatever. I'm sure they'll be there too, so probably not. All right. This is In the Jar, where we rant about all football happenings going on at any level. Today was a NFL heavy day. Some days we'll talk only about college football. Who knows? You better subscribe to find out. And we'll see you guys Monday. Woo! Thank you. See you, Alec. Make sure you subscribe.